So I thought that I was done talking about Russell Westbrook for the day. And then this report comes through that he wants out of Houston. Now, we did see something a little earlier that said Harden and Westbrook were a little concerned about the future of the Rockets. And, I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? You can just go down their salary cap sheet. You can go down their draft pick situation. It's all there. So I'm assuming that Westbrook and Harden were seeing the same things. And now we see that Russ wants out. We, of course, already saw the stuff about how the Knicks and the Clippers wanted him. I talked about that just a few hours ago on here. To recap the video I did earlier, which has now become kind of obsolete given this new news, but with the Rockets and the Clippers, the heart of it would be a Montrez sign and trade. Maybe Beverly's moving, maybe it's Lou Will, maybe Zubats, Landry Shamet. The Clippers don't really have picks. In the way of the Knicks, I think, to me, it would be Julius Randle going to New York, or going to the Rockets, and then it would be Westbrook to the Knicks, and then it would be the Knicks sending draft picks to a third team, and then that third team sending stuff to Houston. That would be my kind of idea of the whole thing. I could end up being super wrong on that, but that's just where my head immediately goes to. If we think about other teams for Russell Westbrook, I mean, I guess I'm basically just looking at any team that doesn't have an awesome point guard. You think the Jazz would want Westbrook? I don't know about that one. That could be a bit of a culture clash. Phoenix has, of course, been connected to Chris Paul, and Shams, or maybe it was Woj, said that talks have become advanced in that move, and there's even a potential of a 4-team trade in that one. So maybe that takes Phoenix off the table. Can we picture any of the Spurs, Kings, or Pelicans wanting Westbrook? Probably not. I mean, the Kings have Fox. I feel like the Spurs aren't really going to go for the quick fix option. Given Westbrook's age, maybe if he was like 4 years younger, they would consider it. But even then, I would highly doubt that the Rockets would want Aldridge or DeRozan. They would have to love the hell out of Derek White and DeJounte, and I just don't think the Spurs want to get that much older for Westbrook, you know? I mean, is there a crazy world in which the T-Wolves would swap D'Angelo Russell for Russell Westbrook? I mean, if they were really, really all in on wanting to get as good as possible really fast, then I guess that could be an option. Whether Houston would be about that, I don't know. Or, crazy enough, the first pick for Westbrook, which I also don't think, given Westbrook's age. If we move on to the Eastern Conference, the Bucks, I would have to say no. Raptors, no. Celtics, no. Do you think the Pacers would want Westbrook? I don't think Pacers fans would want him. I mean, I think about a move where it would be, I don't know. Is it crazy to suggest the Rockets could get Miles Turner and Malcolm Brogdon for Russell Westbrook? I feel like most people would probably view that as too much, but you never really know with the NBA. We were talking about Miami for Westbrook at one time, but it's tough to picture them doing this because that would lock up their money for next free agency, and they've made it pretty obvious that they're focused on that offseason. I don't really believe we're going to see a Russell Westbrook for Joel Embiid trade. Maybe I'm just not ready for that sort of world. Brooklyn, I would have to say no. I think Orlando would love to have Westbrook. Do with that information whatever you will, Magic fans. But Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier, for the sake of the Rockets, that might not be a horrible starting point. Or maybe even Vucevic. Because I think the Magic are just so desperate to bump up into the mid-tier of the Eastern Conference playoffs that they might make a move like that. The Wizards, no. The Hornets, I'm guessing, no. The Bulls, if they were desperate to make a jump, this could be the way to go about that. But I don't know if they really would be willing to give up LaVine or Markkanen, and I don't know if anybody else on that roster really would excite Houston like that. Then it's a matter of, do you want to put Westbrook in Detroit or Cleveland or Atlanta? I mean, if Blake Griffin was healthy, that would be interesting, but I don't think it's a safe bet to project him being healthy. I think Cleveland could potentially actually have some stuff that the Rockets would want, especially if they could talk themselves into Kevin Love, which there's reason to talk yourself out of Kevin Love, certainly. The health, the injuries, potentially declining as a player. But if it was like Kevin Love and Chetty Osman, Larry Nance, or whatever, that could be cool, but at the same time, it's like, is Russell Westbrook really going to end up in Cleveland? I'm sure players around the league would look at the Rockets maybe doing Westbrook wrong in that scenario, and that is something that front offices need to care about, because players don't forget that sort of thing. And in the case of Atlanta, I don't really think that one's going to happen. So, yeah, but they do have that 6th pick, and they have been making it pretty obvious they want to get better right now. And Westbrook, you know, he could allow Trae Young to play off the ball a little bit more, but that would be a lot of shots between 2 guys on that team. But it would be a talent upgrade, certainly. So yeah, I think outside of the Knicks and the Clippers, who have made it pretty clear that they're interested in Westbrook, if I had to pick another team, for as unexciting as a pick as it is, I really would go with the Orlando Magic. I think Orlando has just been sitting for so long at the 7th and 8th seed, and if I just had to pick a third team, it would be Orlando, but my main pick is still the Knicks. Anyway, the other thing to think about now is it's getting pretty close to the end for Houston. Okay? I mean, to me, this upcoming season, and not even this whole season, the first 30 games could determine how much longer James Harden's really with the Rockets. Whether that happens at the deadline or not, I don't know, because I feel like it would take so much to trade for Harden that trying to negotiate that during the year on top of the team taking him on, having to worry about, are we good enough after all the stuff we trade away, even if we got him, to where it might just be a thing that happens in the offseason. But I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say Houston starts out 10-10, or maybe even worse than that. Then we could start hearing rumors. Hell, we could start hearing rumors a month from now. I mean, Shams 21 minutes ago said Harden is locked in for this season, which that's all fine and dandy, but we've heard those types of things before, and then however long later, oh, guy wants to be traded. So, again, the writing really could be on the wall for Houston. Maybe they would just hit a home run with this Westbrook move where they get some good players who can play around Harden. I don't really think they're going to get another star player. So then the formula for them would have to be kind of like the Mavericks in 2011, where it's veterans around one star player. Is it possible to win a title like that with James Harden as your main guy? I mean, maybe. It would depend on the pieces and everything, and I think if Harden's doing a little bit more off the ball and stuff, then it creates more variety, makes you tougher to defend in the postseason, all that good stuff. But there's a chance that none of that matters once you run into Steph and Clay, LeBron and AD, Jokic and Jamal Murray, because I think Jamal Murray has clearly elevated his status in the league after his performance in the bubble. So we'll have to see with all that, but for the sake of Westbrook, yeah, the guy wants out of Houston, and we'll see how that all unfolds.